Hi, my name is Mohammed Shoaib, and I'm a sixth-year MD PhD candidate at the Donald and Barbara Zucker School of Medicine at Hofstra, Northwell. And I'm very honored to be elected as Member of the Month at the Nassau County Medical Society. I'm extremely grateful to be working with, such hardworking, dedicated physicians who've been, working in the field for many, many, many years. And I'm really glad that I can get to learn from them about how they work clinically and how they advocate for patients and how they're improving just policy for how medical care is given in our community. So thank you. I'm very glad to be here. So what inspired me to go into the medical profession, I'm not really sure if I can answer. I think it's a very complicated question because I see myself putting together both medical and the science part of medicine as well as the clinical. Really, I'm truly an academic person. And so I feel like I've gotten inspired both by my science teachers when I was a kid, in elementary school when we're doing those mini experiments. I really enjoyed that, and I really liked learning about science. Um, and of course, I've had great clinical mentors over the past few years. In particular, I've really gotten to learn how they approach the disease, how they approach patients, and how they take care of them. And really, I think that it's kind of the epitome of how mentorship works. I don't think there is a mentor for each. One mentor for everything in your life. I think that each part of your life has a different mentor, and I think you can learn from each of them and really build something that's your own. And so for me, medicine means being able to take care of patients who are, really sick and coming for help, and being able to bring, your expertise in the clinical part, but also being able to say, I'm not sure, I don't know, and getting colleagues to help and working together. And so I think that really the collaborative efforts that are involved in medicine, the science that's involved in medicine, and then the caring for people that's involved in medicine really is what drove me to the field. And I'm really excited to be working with so many wonderful people, and I hope that we all can continue to build on this teamwork effort and really improve medical care and going forward. I think it's an understatement to say that COVID-19 pandemic has impacted, the field of medicine. We have seen one of the most tumultuous times in the field, both from a clinical perspective, because so many patients really did suffer, and many did unfortunately lose their lives. But really, what's unprecedented in so many decades is the fact that we are dealing with something that's so new, and taking people off guard. And so really, it just as it brought down the entire economy for a while, I think it's really influenced how medicine is going to from going forward, whether it's from the administrative perspective, whether it's from the clinical side, or whether it's even the medical student side, and how medical education is going to be modified and changed. And I think one of the most important things that came out of this pandemic really is the collaboration and the teamwork and the support that the medical societies and communities have given each other. I think that working together, both clinical people and science people, and really trying to figure out the best solution, whether it's the advent of the vaccines that really were just unprecedented, and showed that going forward we can work together both globally and within our community and push the boundaries further and faster and try to improve the way we care for patients. And I really think that although there were a lot of negative things that the pandemic has shown, whether it is loss of life or the mistrust in science, I really do feel that we should take the positives and go forward with them and really make our connection with the communities stronger. So, as a medical student, I'm not sure if I'm qualified to provide any advice, but if I can share what I've learned for future medical students and even members of the society, is really that we should always be approaching things from a place of humility. I think we learned so much about this disease and about how to deal with things within the pandemic, but really what it taught us is that we don't know enough, and we don't know a lot actually. And so just always be comfortable or learning to be comfortable with the uncertainty is something that we as medical professions should really be exercising quite often. It makes sure that we're taking care of patients as carefully as we can, even if diseases are not necessarily known, but also it highlights the fact that it's a teamwork, right? It's not just the physicians by themselves or the fellows. It's the physicians and the entire clinical team that includes the patient, really making sure that we are comfortable with building those relationships with the patients. And on top of that, what we've seen during this pandemic is that team has now also really reinforced the role of science and scientists. I think that breaking that bridge between the clinical teams and the clinical side, as well as what's going on in the basic science, is really what's going to help propel us forward in any disease that we may come up, or any diseases that we're still dealing with that we don't know enough about, and really making sure that we are taking care of our patients with the best possible options that we have, with the teams working together. And I think that coming from a place of humility, being able to learn from anywhere and anything and any person, whether it be your fellows or your colleagues or your patients even, and really working together. I think those three things are so important as we move. My PhD work, which I just completed, was on cardiopulmonary arrest. We were trying to identify molecular patterns that change after a patient goes into cardiac arrest, when their heart stops circulating their blood, and essentially they're dead. And our goal was to identify what's going on in these patients that, in the emergency department, that come in almost daily, and see if we can see the same type of patterns of these molecular changes in our rat model in the laboratory. And it turns out that we can. And so what my team and I decided to do was see if we can use this as a modality to treat. Can we use these patterns and actually implement our therapies on them? And they showed really good results in the laboratory, and hopefully soon we can see if we can bring that to clinical trials. Not soon yet, but hopefully. And what's really important, I think, about this disease that I really, or just this disease process, is that you have to think about the patient and the body as a whole. You can't really focus on one organ and one cell process or one molecule. Really, you really have to think about how does the body function in its entirety. And I think that was a very important part of this journey, because it's very easy when you're working on a science project that you kind of just zone in and tunnel in, and it's really important. It's very important to be able to focus on one aspect of something, but it also is important to learn and see how that one aspect fits in the global scale. And so working on this particular area really helped me strengthen both zooming in on a particular molecule and a particular aspect and learning a lot about it, but also taking into consideration how it works collectively in the patient. And so I really hope to be continuing this type of research going forward, and then being able to use my clinical skills to improve on how I think about the science. And as an academic person, I really do want to blend both the basic science and the clinical part of medicine together, and hopefully I can take care of patients that way.